On October 4th, 2020, Keshe addressed his followers in a dense, hours-long broadcast that merges theoretical plasma physics with complex socio-political theory. The premise of this session rests on a series of extreme claims. The Keshe Foundation asserts it has developed technology capable of eradicating disease, providing limitless energy, and entirely replacing modern data storage. Yet, despite claiming to possess this world-altering technology, the organization's founder is intentionally keeping it in a holding pattern. The transcript outlines 3 specific reasons for this delay. First, introducing a post-scarcity system to our current society is deemed too dangerous for the global economy. Second, the framework argues that human biology itself is currently incompatible with this level of raw energy. And third, institutional actors and geopolitical rivals are actively attempting to suppress or weaponize the discoveries before they can be safely released. Read in its totality, the text identifies a matrix of biological flaws and fractal systemic corruption as the primary barrier to human advancement. To understand the reasoning behind this delay, we have to catalog exactly what is allegedly being withheld. The broadcast divides these technological interventions into 3 categories: data, energy, and medicine. On the data front, the claim is the complete obsolescence of current computer hardware and binary programming. The legacy of traditional computing pioneers is positioned as part of an outdated mechanical era. In its place, the Foundation proposes a non-binary system based on emotion and feeling, claiming it can store millions of terabytes of data for a single cent. The energy component centers on the deployment of what the Foundation calls GANs, gas in a nanostate, reactors, intended to immediately replace traditional combustion engines. At a macro scale, this application is said to offer the ability to instantly clean up aging, hazardous nuclear facilities. A secondary environmental claim asserts this same plasma technology can rapidly purify the world's polluted waterways. Finally, the medical claims focus heavily on utilizing these plasma fields to treat the COVID-19 virus. The transcript states that hundreds of politicians and citizens in Iran were successfully treated and brought back from the verge of death using these specific methods. Taken at face value, releasing these claims would collapse the global economy overnight. That immediate disruption forms the first major bottleneck to deployment. But the transcript moves beyond economic disruption, pointing to a much deeper, biological bottleneck. The framework defines an internal conflict within human anatomy, a pure soul of man struggling against a material soul of physicality. This struggle is exacerbated by what the text calls the Earth blemish, a localized field defect unique to our planet's interaction with the sun. According to this theory, human and animal aggression, jealousy, and warfare are the direct products of this localized, disruptive energy field. This aggressive frequency anchors itself to the physical body through the bloodstream, specifically absorbing into human iron molecules. The broadcast illustrates this inherent wildness with an animal analogy, noting how domesticated pigs, when released into the wild, rapidly revert into feral boars. Humanity, bearing similar physical traits, is theorized to experience the same reversion. Giving an aggressive species limitless power without prior evolution ensures a return to destructive warfare. The proposed solution involves an alteration, a thickening of the blood's physical composition. This physiological change supposedly slows the velocity of aggressive emotions, allowing humans to process high-level energy peacefully. The broadcast references the copper-based blood of the horseshoe crab to illustrate the potential for advanced telepathic and biological networking. Until human blood composition physically evolves to reject the Earth blemish, introducing post-scarcity power simply creates a more efficient apex predator. Beyond internal biology, the broadcast maps a complex web of external geopolitical suppression. The text details severe betrayals from within the Foundation's inner circle, specifically citing the pillow job, acts of sabotage committed by intimate partners and spouses. These internal fractures escalate to the assertion that Keshe's own son is being held as ransom by actors seeking leverage over the Foundation. This sabotage extends to commercial operations in Brazil, citing individuals like Marco Manez in alleged hostile takeover attempts and financial scams. On a state level, The suppression directly targets the Foundation's medical deployments in Iran. The transcript claims an unnamed Iranian leader forced a national ethics committee to reject their successful COVID-19 plasma treatments to maintain political control. This suppression connects to broader global tensions and the push for ethical oversight, referencing organized protests at the 2020 World Health Summit in Berlin. The community dialogue also addresses anxieties over mandatory vaccines and alleged 3-day microchip tracking systems deployed in Argentina. To explain why the suppression occurs, the broadcast relies on a historical analogy, the reign of Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, the Shah of Iran. During his White Revolution, the Shah educated soldiers to act as teachers. This massive literacy campaign directly threatened the clergy's monopoly on knowledge. The text draws a direct parallel. Just as mass literacy threatened the power structures of the past, post-scarcity plasma technology threatens the leverage of modern global leadership. Every layer of human organization, from the family unit to the nation-state, is structurally incentivized to suppress this technology to preserve their existing leverage. The Keshe doctrine weaves these 3 distinct layers, technology, biology, and global institutions, into a single holistic system. The overarching logic becomes clear. Forcefully deploying this technology right now is viewed as catastrophic, not utopian. Injecting post-scarcity systems into what the text calls the matter state paradigm would weaponize corrupt institutions and empower biologically aggressive humans. The soul of physicality, anchored in the blood, has to be realigned before the species can handle that level of responsibility. Instead, humanity must transition away from taking and toward continuous giving, a process the transcript refers to as birthing. This change cannot be forced by a new reactor or a plasma field. It requires voluntary, ethical evolution over multiple generations. According to the October 2020 broadcast, the true bottleneck to a utopian society is not a limitation in theoretical physics. The ultimate barrier is the biological and ethical immaturity of the human race.